In fact, Mother herself has disclosed in the agenda that in the normal body of a yogi, there are 7 chakras, centers of dynamic activity, 7, Kundalini as we call them, 7 chakras. And they have to be, of course, awakened, all those 7 chakras, that they become spiritually active. That is the tantric part of the work. Now, Mother says that, but there are, in fact, in the body, 12 chakras, not 7. In the body proper, there are 12 chakras. 3 above the head and 2 below the feet. Plus 7 in the body. 12 chakras. These 12 chakras have to be formed. That is the tantric work. That is the tantric work. 12 chakras have to be formed. Now, when Sri Aurobindo says that your body is better suited for that, it means that those 12 chakras in the physical are already present in the mother. In a spiritual body, all those 12 chakras are already present there, which are not there in him, because his path is the spiritual path of ascending to the levels of consciousness. But on the material level, it's a different thing altogether. So those 12 chakras are there in the case. Now, in other words, when our bodies need each other, these 12 chakras have to dynamically come into interaction with each other and then carry out the process of creation further, of the divine manifestation here. The process of divine manifestation starts with that. See, Mother narrates, as you know already, that when she was with him, on one particular occasion, she had discovered a box on which her name was written. Yeah, yeah, in Sanskrit. And he asked her to open it, and she opened it, and she saw that the mantra of life in that. Tia wanted to grab that mantra from her. It is she alone who could read it. But Mother refused to reveal it to him. Mother refused to reveal it to him. You can imagine how dangerous it would have been had it gone, that mantra of life, had it gone in the hands of death. In the hands of death. The incarnation of death. He would have grabbed the whole thing, controlled everything. See, what a tremendous moment it is in the spiritual history of the earth. She says, no, I am not going to open it. And at that point of time, Tina became very angry. And he strangled her practically. The mother. Strangled her practically. Yeah. Cut off a cord of life. Because she was in the subtle plane, in the other body, you see. Cut off that cord. But then there was always the protection for the mother, the divine protection. At that time, of course, she did not meet Sri Aurobindo. They did not know also perhaps each other. But then that protection was there. She somehow managed to come back into the physical body. Yes, he had cut off the cord between the subtle body and the physical body. That is what I mean by strangle. You see. She came back. And then she said later on, that mantra was to be given to Sri Aurobindo. The mantra of life, she gave it to Sri Aurobindo. At that point, we need each other for that purpose. We need each other for that purpose. For carrying out the work. Our bodies need each other in the same lust. See? They are meant for that purpose. That is the supramental lust. And that is how we have come together here. You see, for what? Our bodies need each other in the same love. Let me tell you something, what is there in one of the ancient scriptures. Aitareya Upanishad. One of the Upanishads, one of the most famous Upanishads, very powerful. And there are certain descriptions in it which are extremely revealing. You need to read them. Aitareya Upanishad, volume 12 of the Savitri, page 361. 361 and 62. Savitri volumes. Birth Centenary volume, volume 20. You got this one? Page 361. It's very, very revealing, very deep. It's good to know some of these things. Say that the spiritual knowledge is there, but mechanism, etc. Now, this Upanishad is at this particular point, chapter 2 of this one, page 361. The beginning of the second chapter. He says, in the male first the unborn child becomes. The child is first born in the male. Yes. This is what it says.
What is male?
That you understand. Let me read. Yeah. In the male first the unborn child becomes. This which is seed is the force and heat of him that from all parts of the creature draws together for becoming. He gives you what it means. You see. Therefore, he bears himself in himself. Male bears the child in himself. Basically, well, I mean, if you want to understand in a biological sense, if at all, in a very crude manner, this is very deep actually. What it means is that, as if in a biological sense, the sperm is first formed in male. Without that, nothing can happen further. You see, if you want to see in a biological sense, but it's not that. The whole consciousness, the whole personality, the whole being is first created in his tapas shakti in him. By the power of concentration, by the power, you cannot draw the child first in you. The spiritual being, you establish him first in you, see. He becomes first in you, see. Therefore, he bears himself in himself by the spiritual tapas, by asterisk, tapasya. And when he casts it into the womb, after having established that in him, then he casts it into the woman. Well, in the biological sense, the sperm is transferred to the woman, you see, into the woman. It is himself he begets. It is then, it is he that who has born here, it is he is getting to the woman. And this is the first birth of the spirit. When you have done tapas, out of that tapas shakti, you have concentrated that tapas energy in you, and that energy then you pass on to the female. It means that it is the male who creates that tapas shakti. It is the female nature who bears the tapas of that thing. And when it is like the seed is sown in this soil. The soil will now absorb it, take care of it, and the tree will come out of it, you see. It will come out, you see. And this is the first birth of the spirit. By doing the tapas, you have created that being in you, and then it has to go forth into the world. He casts it into the woman. Then it says, it becomes one with the woman. He identifies itself, that seed, which is the woman. Therefore, it does her no hurt, because it has established that unity, identity with her. So, there is no incompatibility, there is no difficulty in absorbing that thing. And she cherishes this self of her husband that has got into her womb. The fetus grows. You see, I mean, this is a very beautiful language. Don't see the biological sense, but you see the metaphysical content of it. Then she cherishes him in the womb. Nature bears him, develops him, brings him out through the period of 9 months. The child is formed. You see, it's a very elaborate, detailed kind of a mechanism by which the child is formed in her, not in him. You see. And see the way, the clockwork manner in which things go in the womb. Precisely, you see. She, the cherisher, must be cherished. This is important. She is the one who is cherishing that seed in her, and she must be worshipped. She must be taken care of fully. Nature, it means. So the woman bears the unborn child, and the man cherishes the boy even from the beginning, or it is born. It takes care of him from a spiritual point of view. And whereas he cherishes the boy, or it is born, before it is born, he is taking care of him spiritually. It is verily himself that he cherishes. For the continuance of these worlds and people, why does he cherish that fetus? For the continuance of this world. The creation has to proceed in the divine progress. For it is even thus the thread of these worlds spins on unbroken. The continuity of the creation is maintained. And this is the second birth of the spirit. So the first birth is in man. The second birth is in the female of the child. Lo, this is the spirit and self of him, and makes it is vicegerent. Now, this his other self, when it has done the works, so when it comes out, it does whatever is to be done in the creation. He does tapas, he takes the evolution forward, he carries out things forward. This, his other self, when it has done the works it came to do and has reached its age, its maturity, its completeness, its fulfillment, when it has grown in the world and established itself in the world, achieved it, it goes hence, and even as it departs. Yes, I have done my job here in this world, and then it departs. It is born again in another world. The birth has taken place, the fetus has grown, it has come out, it has done its tapas on the earth, and it is at that point he does the tapas, he is born again. That is the third birth. And this is the third birth of the spirit. So the first birth is in the male, the second birth is in the female, and the third birth is in the creation, to do the work of creation. This is the third birth which takes place here. Therefore, it was said by the sage Vamadeva. He gives an example. This is the third birth. It was said by Vamadeva, I, Vamadeva, being yet in the womb, while I was still in the womb of the mother, he says, knew all the births of these gods. Already I knew. I was still a fetus. I knew all the births of these gods and their causes. Why they are there, what for they are there, I already knew in the womb of the mother. In 100 cities of iron, they held me down and kept me captive. In the world of nature, they held me back here. But the world of nature is, I broke them all with speed. They try to put me, enring me in the 100 cities of iron. But I broke them all with speed and violence. Like a hawk, I soared up into my heavens, into the beatitude, into the world of immortality. I came out and knew my birth, what part I am here. Now I am back to the heaven, immortal. While yet he lay in the womb, he was still in the womb of the mother, means he was still doing all the tapasya in nature, with the physical nature, with the vital nature, with the mental nature, all those things. Thus said Vamadeva. And because he knew this, therefore, when the strains of the body was snapped asunder, when he is relieved from the body now, he soared forth into yonder world of paradise. Right from the birth, he knew all that thing. And he did the tapas in his life and he went to paradise. And there, having possessed all desires, put death behind. Death could not touch me. That is the tapas I have done. That is the third birth I have taken. Yes, he put death behind him. No more death could touch him at all. That is the third birth. Now, the important point which Savitri is making here is in this context. Yes, these three births are necessary. By the tapas shakti, the spiritual energy is gathered by the male, metaphorically. That energy works now in nature, takes birth, and it is that birth which adds to the tapas. But all along what was happening, that tapas was meant to climb, soar beyond this world. You are ending with 100 cities of iron. You have to break through them like a hawk and climb to paradise. Savitri says, no, we need not climb back to paradise. Our work here now is what? Our bodies need each other for bringing those possibilities of heaven here in this third birth. Vamadeva should carry out his work now on earth, not in heaven. If he has to carry out the work here, it should happen here. It is for that purpose we have come together, we are meeting together for that purpose. Our life now begins in that context, for that purpose. Heaven's touch fulfills, that is the fulfillment, but cancels not our earth. Our bodies need each other in the same lust. Still in our breast repeat heavenly secret rhythm. Our human heartbeats passionately close. Still, and then she is coming to a very endearing picture. Savitri, while she is talking of all that thing, she is coming to a very sweet, homely kind of a picture. Still am I she who came to thee with a murmur of sunlit leaves upon this forest verge. I am the Madan, I am Savitri. She is recollecting their first meeting. At that time, I had come all the way to the forest as a Madran, Savitri, as a princess. I had come here a year ago, exactly a year ago. Our sunlit lives upon this forest verge where we have met here. Yes, it is that, oh Savitri, I am here still for you. The way in which we met and immediately recognize each other's identity, yes, it is that. So, although we are coming from somewhere else, now from heaven or whatever it is, we have come from the transcendent, from other realms, we have come together now. I am still that Madran now, that human Savitri, that physical Savitri. Still am I she who came to thee, who came to thee. This was exactly 1 year ago that come together and met in the forest, the first meeting. I am that. The way in which you loved me at that time, yes, that love is still intact because I am still that Madran, that Savitri.